Welcome, everyone, to a new episode of The Soul of a Story, where I invite writers and creatives and artists to come on and share why they do what they do on a specific project or more. I'm very happy today to introduce you to a friend of mine, a young, talented, I call him a quadruple threat. He can sing, he can dance, he can write, he can do just about anything, and he can shoot a jump shot from the side. Fellow East Ender, but he's not here right now. I'll ask him where he is. August Gladstone, welcome, August. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me, John. It's a
You
pleasure to
look
be
great.
here. So do
Yeah.
you, sir.
And where are we getting you from? Where are you right
Right now, I'm in Los Angeles, California. I live on the Sunset Strip in the rock and roll part of town.
now? August for you guys are gonna find out. August is very cool. I think he's my coolest friend. He is a cool cat. I dig it. So LA. How and I said you're from the East End. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Springs,
Okay.
East Hampton, Long Island, New York, USA.
That's right. So you're an ocean person, right? You're on, you got the Atlantic and now you got the Pacific, right?
I'm an ocean guy. Most of my summers were spent digging clams out of the bay, and it's interesting whenever I'm in Los Angeles telling people where I'm from and I say the Hamptons, their mind automatically springs to you're a Kardashian, you're a rich socialite. I'm not. I was born in the mud and the muck. I crawled out of the spawning pits.
So hanging out with me. Yeah, the best people clam. I'll tell you right now. That's where it's at. What so which ocean do you prefer? Tell me what's the difference? What's the difference in you're a very astute, very sensitive, perceiving person between the Atlantic and the Pacific. What do you see?
I can't stand the Pacific Ocean.
Oh,
Can't
okay.
stand it. I'm an Atlantic ride or die. I think the Pacific Ocean is for babies. It's for weaklings. It's the inferior ocean, and it's trying to be all like, "Oh my God, it's I'm the Pacific Ocean. Come swim in me." That's so sweet. That's so nice and inviting. The Atlantic has some balls, man. The Atlantic is going to be cold and windy and terrifying and stormy and dramatic and eldritch, and
Mm.
that's what I want out of my ocean. I want to feel unwelcome in the ocean.
See, I like that. See, August got opinions. I like it. You know, I kind of dig that because the Atlantic is. I haven't seen the Pacific too many times, but I'll agree with you. The Atlantic's got a little heart to it. It's a little churny, and right now it looks like if you put one toe in it, you just never come back and all
Exactly
that.
right.
You
It's
know?
exactly right. I think man should be a little bit more scared of nature.
Oh, I'm terrified. Right now it's snowing outside. I'm huddled in. Um, I like that. So what do you do out in LA? I know you're August is pursuing many things, but give us a little. Why are you in LA? Then given
Yeah,
your given your given your hate of the Pacific, why are you in LA?
I'm a multi-generative artist.
Okay,
I
cool.
went to school, I went to Emerson College, and I studied writing for film and television. And the goal was really to become a TV writer
Hmm.
and a comedy writer. I was doing a lot of sketch comedy in school. I was writing a ton of pilots and performing a ton. I've been performing my entire life, but I really zeroed my focus in on the comedy during college. And I moved right out to LA right after graduation because that was, and to some degree still is, the hotbed of the entertainment industry.
Hmm.
And I moved out to LA in June of 2022 after graduating in May of 2022.
Okay.
And then I got my first job in the industry in July of 2022. So it was a very quick turnaround time. And I started working at a very prestigious, high level management and production company that is responsible for a lot of very top tier inspirational comedy films and TV
Hmm.
shows, and representing A-list clients of all walks of life. And it was an incredible experience of seeing how the sausage gets made, the most
Mm.
expensive sausage in the world. Um, and it crushed my spirit.
Oh.
And because I saw that just how much of a business it is, and just
Mm.
how restrictive is that it actually is to creatives.
Mm.
And that's always why I wanted to get into the industry, was so that I could
Right.
explore a creative pursuit. As a writer, as a performer, as a filmmaker, producer. And it was sort of a, I learned a ton, but it was also a hotbed of negativity. It was
Mm,
very much people doing everything they can to avoid a no,
mm,
and at the same time saying no to things that otherwise that I thought were great, that I thought were exciting and had great people attached who were pouring their
uh-huh,
hearts and souls into it. And so much of what I'd done in my life up until that point had been directed towards film and TV. But I wanted to find an escape from that because it
mm-hmm,
didn't feel like it was a holistic creative experience. So I started writing poetry as a
mm-hmm,
just a more immediate form of writing.
uh-huh,
Because if I'd written a script, the best thing I could do with it as a 23-year-old would be to wait for 10 years until I knew the right producers to,
right,
have a one in a million shot of getting it made. But what if I write a poem, I can write it today and read it to you tonight and actually
yeah,
share a connection with you, and it's a much more
right,
grassroots form of writing.
right,
And it allowed me to find more of a community because the
mm-hmm,
when I was networking with Hollywood people, it was all about like, how do I get this next job? How do we
mm,
make some money? But networking with poets is very much like, how do you see the world? I
oh,
want to
that
hear your
nice,
unique experience as a human. So I started writing a lot of poetry and
mm-hmm.
really fell in love with the form. And then I realized that nobody reads poetry. And that would never be, it was something for me, but I lust for fame and success, of course. So I started sort of turning that into music because another part of me had
Nice,
always kind of wanted to be a musician, and I felt like I never could be because I
uh-huh,
wasn't really trained and I didn't learn an instrument growing up. I didn't study singing or
yeah,
anything like that or music theory. But I really wanted to be a part of this world, and I realized that what I did have to offer was my skills as a writer, and my poetry is very lyrical.
yeah,
I never really my core ethos is that I don't write a poem unless it can also be a song, and I don't write a song unless it can also be a poem.
wow, I like that,
I'm very much a lyrics first songwriter,
mm-hmm,
and over the past year or so, music has really sort of taken the reins of my creative spirit.
mm,
But at the same time, I don't want to say that I'm a musician. I don't want to say
okay,
that I'm just that because I don't think I am. I think I'm more than that, and
mm-hmm,
I don't think it's fair to anybody to pigeonhole them into one pursuit, especially right now in the world where so much of the way that we consume art and entertainment is through this very kind of homogenized lens of you do this, you've made this your bit and your content
yeah,
and your work, and you can't do anything else because if you do that, you'll lose the audience. And I don't think
right,
that's a good way for art to exist in the world right now.
right,
So I don't want to be pigeonholed into one pursuit. So I'm a filmmaker. This is a very long-winded answer.
no,
I'm
no, it's a
a
great
filmmaker
answer,
and
it's a
a
great
writer,
answer,
comedy writer, a performer, a sketch comedian, a singer-songwriter, a poet, troubadour.
yeah,
I'm just a person, first and foremost.
absolutely, ah, it's beautiful, I mean, you know, I know you're just wise beyond your years. I know you're 85 years old, but you're so wise. And he's a kid. He's a kid, but he's really wise. And I always say wisdom is I not to over dramatize. It's pain plus time and reflection. And I know you're a very reflection person, reflected and reflective, and it takes a little bit of pain. And about the poetry, it's funny. You say it's a great line. No one reads poetry, but the poets I've met, they are they are the monks of the literary world. They kind of just, and I always respect them. You know what I mean? They will agonize you over a word for 7 years. You know what I mean? To find the right rhyme, right? They just live in this cave of anonymity mostly, and so I get it. And I really like what you said. You just even talk like a poet. You kind of go back and forth on things. I won't write what I can't sing. I won't do, but in the end, like your identity is really important as a creative person. And I'm glad that you're not pigeonholing yourself, as you say, or anyone for that matter, because we often, what we say we are is what we become. And if you're not exactly sure where that lies, keep it open. But for a lot of what I do like is like it's all creative, and a lot of people don't want to step into that world. But I always say I became a writer when I said it.
Hmm.
And so I dig that. I dig where you're at. And the last thing how I got to know August was through his a poetry book. Ivy, which I just really fell in love with. And I immediately said, this is very lyrical. This is really music. So I'm glad you're sort of moving that way. And, we'll see where it takes you. See where it takes you. You know,
Totally.
the, but it's always good to have a little humor too, and you got it.
Absolutely.
How does your comic, because you're a comedian in many ways. How does that delve into the serious part of your work? I mean, you know what I mean? Or does it not? Is it like, do you compartmentalize?
Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't, and that's honestly something that I'm grappling with a little bit right now. Is that I'm always endeavoring to represent to the best of my ability the totality of the human experience.
Uh-huh.
I I don't want to be someone who just writes sad songs. A lot of the songs that I do write are sad and sad folk songs that are very much about pain and
Mm-hmm.
existentialism and lost love. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I also have songs about ridiculous bathroom humor, and sometimes those songs are the same song, and
Yeah.
they travel through different points. And I think that this is a world that shies away from complexity.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not trying to say that I'm a complex philosopher of the spirit. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. But what I do try to do is put just a tinge of something that's off kilter in my work.
Yeah.
Whether that
Yeah.
is a comedic line in a serious, otherwise serious song, or something that is kind of gutting and devastating and a true reflection of sadness in a comedy short.
Yeah.
And really, those forms of expression are coming from the same place. They're
Nice.
they're means of processing the same emotions. It's
Absolutely.
the human is experiencing the same emotions. We're all experiencing the same emotions. It's just how what lens are we looking at them through? And
That's
oftentimes
right.
we can throw different lenses on top of each other. So, one of your it's like a 3D glasses almost for the world.
Yeah.
One
No, I
side will be
love
red,
that.
one side will be blue.
That's really smart. Really. I'm sitting here a lot older than you and a lot. And when I first started my writing, I was really striving for humor. And it wasn't even I wanted to, that's just my way. And I always thought it was a lot of defensiveness.
Yeah.
You want people to like you. And plus, I had that bent, that kind of, and people would say, "Oh, you have dark humor." And I never liked that dark humor because it's kind of like, well, I don't know. But I thought I was trying to make sense of things. Then as I got older, it changed and changed, and I fought it a little bit. I got scared. Now, when I read those early things, I'm like, you know, I wow, that was really interesting that I was that way, and I'm starting to move back towards that in some regards. So we do change as we grow and all that, and um, I just dig that kind of idea. Like, you know, we always are scratching the same itch,
Yeah.
deep down, deep down, deep down, and it's just another way of how we're going to get at it, right? And I think that'll be your journey as well. I think you're further along than I was,
Hmm.
so that's good. So, and I never made it to LA. The farthest west I got was Rochester, right?
You're not missing much out here. Just
And
a lot of faces.
so as we're going to dovetail, the series, and I thought of August immediately when I started this, is sort of the soul of a story, and you are very soulful, and you're a good storyteller, and I had the benefit of seeing August perform maybe about a month ago, something like that, maybe a little less than that, out here on the East End in a great, great venue in Sag Harbor, New York. And he played his music and told stories. And he told one about, I'm going to let him lead into that, about being in Montana. It just floored me for all the things that I'm talking about: maturity, beyond years, reality, kind of pain and vulnerability. So I really dug it. So I've asked him to kind of retell that story here and play a little. So I'm gonna kind of like shut up now, and maybe you can channel in that great moment. So, the soul of a story. So what tell that story if you don't mind about, and you can lead up what you were doing and why you were doing it and all that, and then play us a tune. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I'm a folk singer and a
Okay.
folk artist, And I'm really inspired by Western culture, by cowboys, stories of the old
Okay.
West. I think they're a great form of American myth, and similarly are embodiments of a spirit that I long to capture.
Mm.
I'm a New Yorker island boy. I'm not. I wasn't raised on the range. But what I was raised with was an appreciation for the natural world around me and the importance
Uh-huh.
of man's connection to nature, the
Yeah.
importance of individualism and stoicism, and the ability
Nice.
to look after oneself on the road, in tune with the world around them. And this is a world that's becoming increasingly distant
Mm.
from that ideal.
Right.
And it's an ideal that I really want to embody. So as fraudulent and performative as it is, it does come from a place of genuine care and
Uh-huh.
appreciation for the style and also just for the style of music. I'm not the best guitar player, I'm not the best singer, and I don't want to be. And a lot of those guys who those cowboy folk singers, those campfire songs, they're not meant to be played by good guitarists. They're not meant to be sung by beautiful singers. They're just meant to be
Mm.
reflections of all this is to say I'm working on my debut full length album now, which is an album of Western folk called The Golden West, which is very much about many of the things that I was just talking about,
Nice.
existentialism in this age, through the lens of rugged Western folk. And this is again dovetailing off, but I'll get back to the point here. Back in April 2025, I was cast in a short film that was shooting up in Idaho.
Okay.
And I was really excited. I was still working at my job in entertainment at the time, and feeling very bottled up. I'd been doing that job for 3 years at that point, and it was every day in the same kind of office building. And I didn't really know myself. I didn't really have a chance to experience the world in the way that I'd
Mm.
wanted to. I'd always had an itch to ramble and to
Mm-hmm.
be on the open road, experiencing the world through my own eyes and not just through the path that I thought had been prescribed to me. So I thought this working on this film in Idaho was a great opportunity to experience that a little bit, to channel this interest in Western society that I had. So rather than, when the production team was asking how I wanted to get out there, they're like, "We will book your flights if you want. Just get out here for this date." And I said, "I don't want you to book my flights. I'm going to drive."
Oh, cool.
So I packed up my car with more beef jerky than I could ever eat, and my guitar and some books. And I just read Travels with Charlie by Steinbeck. So it's very kind of very feeling like that a little bit, and
Uh-huh.
brought my guitar and my books and my journals and my snacks, and I bought my buddy a machete for his birthday the week prior, and I texted him. I said, "Hey man, I hate to pull this back, but can I bum that machete for this road trip I got going on just in case?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, man. I don't know why you got me this machete anyway." I go back, I pick it up from his house. Turns out the bastard never even opened it. I thought he was gonna be brandishing it at his roommates. Anyway, I had to open it for him. So I had my blade and my guitar and all my devices. And I set out on this road trip just because I wanted to see the world a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And I drove up from LA through the chaparral of Eastern California, through that desert, up through Nevada and the Arizona deserts, and up through Utah, which was full of jagged wolf peeth,
Mm.
wolf tooth style mountains, and
Nice.
uh, up through Utah, and then I arrived in Montana and was really blown away by it, and I was floored
Mm.
by it. And it was so evocative and incredible. I was pulling into Montana, and it was twilight, and I'd been driving for 10 hours, so I was a little frazzled. But the sky was streaked with purple and silver, and
Mm.
the mountains were looming up all around me, and it was incredible. It was grandiose. It was the biggest place I had ever been, and there were
Mm.
wild horses running in a meadow below me and streams cutting through the ground, and it was just so far removed from anything that I'd ever seen
Wow.
before, and so just full of freedom and natural beauty. I
Mm.
just had to pull over my car and start weeping.
Oh,
I was weeping on the side of the road, and I didn't think that that was the kind of thing that I would do.
yeah.
And it was really a spiritual experience. I sort of
Yeah.
learned how
Yeah.
just how sort of small I was, and like
Hmm.
I did not feel worthy to put the state into words. I
Right.
was so floored by just the naturalist beauty of it all. But anyway, we kept driving around and stayed the night in Butte in a mining chateau. And I was writing songs throughout this entire trip, and
Uh-huh.
uh, when I got back, I've been really drawing from that trip a lot, just from all the amazing sights that I saw, things I never thought I'd see. And I was at this residency in Woodstock in May, and I wrote this song that I'll play now to sort of talk
Okay.
about that road
Oh,
trip and
beautiful.
Western experience. And it's a
Okay.
talking blues song in the
Okay.
style of Woody Guthrie and Townes Van Zandt, and a lot of those people.
Okay.
Uh, and it's called Talking Wild West. I've seen Old West saloons, hot silver spoons, Hollywood moons, hanging hazy and rude, demanding of a man something hot, something cool, something old, something new, as long as it ain't true. Lies are fine with me, though, as long as they're fun. I've had Utah outlaw Mormon wives, Montana mountains, and Idaho fries. Many cowboys I've idolized, I've lost to the rhinestone blues. I made grand mistakes in Santa Fe, dragged ass nearly all the way to Vegas with its shining gates and fine state sponsored sin. Give roulette a spin. Maybe you'll win. Maybe you'll destroy your future. Met a fine young lady in a Texas hostel. She had a mouth like a jigsaw puzzle. I had a heart like a hound dog's muzzle, just snapping with nothing to say. The very next day I met her man. He chased me out with a frying pan, tried to dash my dome, bash my brain, but he didn't know I'm already insane from the microplastics and the breakfast wine. Make you feel just fine.
Mm.
Made love in the desert, got sand in my thing. Proposed to the wind, she rejected the ring. No one could hear me, so I started to sing. Now I'm a real hotshot in secondhand bling. I thought if I roared real loud, they'd fix my face in the shape of a cloud. I could sit on a mountain, smoke 3 joints. Now I don't even know if it all had a point. I can barely afford a sandwich, and there's a new war every afternoon. Something about me that you ought to know. I ain't a fan of I told you so. And they said the West was always gold. I should have trusted my initial instinct. That don't mean I regret a lick, and that don't mean I refuse to stick to the plan of man's green money land. But if he gives me $1, I'll burn it again.
Mm.
It's talking Wild West.
Wow, I love it.
Thank you.
Absolutely love it. I think now, it's funny. The second time now I've heard it. My favorite line, I can't afford a sandwich, right? It's so good.
I can't, man. I
So
can't.
good. Well, there's so much I dig about that. And, the music is really nice with it too. The tune,
Thank
your
you.
voice is good. The words, you got these little punctuating kind of lines throughout it. And so, I'm a writer. I listen as a writer and I just hear craft, craft, craft. It's funny. We're talking about humor a little bit, but it's the kind of funny that makes you think. And that's sort of what you're talking about, right? It's not a laugh line to make you laugh, though it does make you laugh. It's a laugh line to kind of make you laugh about the world because if you don't laugh, you're going to cry.
Yeah.
That's sort of I think where you're landing here. And you told the
Yeah.
story where you were weeping from the beauty, from the majesty of it, and you felt small. And that really hit me because feeling small is a powerful thing because it just means that, I have a friend, um, really smart guy, Mo, older gentleman, lives in Brooklyn. He always says, sometimes when he feels insignificant, he feels part of the world. He's like, I'm a part of this. So it's not a negative thing to feel small. It's reality. We are
Yeah.
small. And I think, again, such a young age for you to sort of capture that feeling, but like, and crying, because really you got to get it out. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we can't, that was really the right emotion. This song, I think is really beautiful. And I think to me, it is kind of the new West. right? It's the New West from the lens, from the brain of a young man from Springs, New York, right? So I like that. I like
Thank you.
so other songs you were writing on that trip, what were they about? What were they like?
Oh, there were a bunch of them. I was writing a lot of political songs at the moment.
Uh-huh,
I
sure.
still am. And I think there's a long history of protest folk in this world, and I
Yeah,
think now is a particularly imperative time to be making work like that.
sure.
Um, so a lot of protest songs were being born from that trip, especially as I was sort of driving through a country that, my mom, when I was setting out on the road trip, she was like, "You got to be very careful. It's red country. They're not
Yeah.
gonna like you there." And I said, "I'm a white guy. I'm gonna be just fine."
I got a
But
machete. I
I
got a
got a
machete.
machete. But it was really interesting because as someone who's gone from New York to Boston to LA, and I'm very staunchly in my own sort of leftist political ideals, something that I've been missing was truly sort of seeing how the other side lived and thought,
There you
and
go.
getting outside of this sort of demonized viewpoint of the bad guys
That's
that
right.
both sides hold of the other side. And I think
No, that's
that's
well
that's
put.
because of propaganda, and it's because of the
Yeah,
internet and everything like that.
yeah.
It's so rare that we actually just get to encounter people
Well,
and
that's
there's
what the
people
artist is
with
for,
ideologies. Yeah,
right?
and
The art, art, no matter even if we're writing something that's fiction or whatever, we're trying to get to the truth.
yeah.
And that's where I'm at. I think that's the most in this day and age where we don't know what's true out there, whatever. If the artist does something, again, even if it's fake, but it comes from a true place, it's true. How do you, as a writer, I think of you as a writer, even though you're so good at music, how do you blend the melody? What's your process? So when you're sitting down, does it come out in one plop? Like, you know what I mean? Are you like, or do you write first, and I'm gonna try to put some melody to it? How does that work?
My process has been changing. Um, it's been changing before my eyes. I'm still kind of trying to figure it out. Uh,
Okay.
what I used to do is that I would write a poem first. There was no semblance of music until I had a finished complete poem, and then I'd say, what can I set to this writing to make it sound okay? What do I have to tweak internally to make it fit with this rhythm that I just found? But now, as I've been playing more music and playing more guitar, I've been doing a lot more lyricism and composition at the same time. Or I've been playing, just messing around on the guitar, finding new fingerstyle patterns and new chord
Mm-hmm.
progressions and stuff, and then just building out from there. And I don't totally have my process figured out musically yet,
You don't
and
have
I
to.
don't know
Yeah.
that anybody ever does. There's this Leonard Cohen quote that I live by and love, where he said, "If I knew where the good songs came from, I would go there more often." And I'm a big, I'm very much in his school of thought about
Yeah,
art and
he's great.
living. He's my hero. And the way that he makes art and views art is it's a very holy thing. It's very much a dance with angels. It's communing with a
Oh, isn't
force
that
that's
nice?
beyond yourself. And the artist is not the self. The artist is a vessel,
Hmm.
and that's why I do what I do, is because I'm always sort of chasing that feeling of being tapped into this wave
Hmm.
beyond myself. And sometimes I
Beautiful.
have it. Sometimes I have it, and it's an amazing feeling that cannot be forced.
Hmm.
And sometimes you have to sit and think about it and really just like pulling teeth, get every word out
Yeah.
of yourself. But when you're riding that wave, there's no other feeling like it.
Yeah.
So I'd like
No,
to
it's
say
beautiful.
my process is getting lucky.
Ah, well, luck is preparation meets opportunity. Um, like, there's the great story of Jim Morrison was writing a lot of poems, and your poetry reminded me of Jim Morrison, The Doors, and he showed them to I don't know one of the guys on The Doors when they first met on the beach. He's like, these would make great songs, and so he would write poetry, and then they would do their best. I'm wondering that because you start as a poet, start putting it to music, and now you're kind of like you know meeting in the middle here. Is the writing changing a little for you now that you're sort of let's say your musical half is now even has it changed the writing?
It has changed the writing.
Yeah.
Um, it's so for so long I have leaned on my lyricism as a bit of a crutch.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that crutch is the right term for it, but it's sort of the thing that defines me, the thing that I feel confident in and comfortable doing. And as I've spoken, as I've become a better musician and played more and engaged myself with more musicians of higher calibers who are pure instrumentalists and pure melodic writers and stuff like that, I've tried to sort of look at myself and sort of interrogate the way that I write songs and say like it's the way I do it, but maybe I should try to change my style.
Mm.
And you know, I don't want to change my style, but at the same time, like I do want to be able to be someone who
Yeah.
not every song that I write has to be, you know, six stanzas
That's
with the
right.
complex rhythm trying to hammer home a complex point. Sometimes I just want to write those sort of Doors style. Morrison's great. I love Jim Morrison. Those kind of lyrics that are not necessarily as structured poetically as the stuff that I tend to write, but are a little bit more vague and loose. And
Mm.
rather than doing, you know, most of the songs that I write will be two or three stanzas and then a chorus. And oftentimes the chorus will change
Uh-huh.
throughout the song. Um, But like you look at a lot of Doors songs, and it's very almost mystical
Yeah.
in its vagueness.
Yeah. Well, that was
It's
his.
not
Yeah.
overwrought, and similar. There's a lot of Bob Dylan songs that are like that. You know, I
Yeah.
think Bob Dylan is a bit of a sort of contradicts himself sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
where so much of his ethos has been like, be as spare as possible, be mysterious,
Mm.
be vague, and then he'll have other songs that are totally just spelled out.
Yeah.
You know, more rhythmic statements rather than
Yeah.
mysterious poems. So
Yeah.
I don't think that like I guess what I'm trying to say is that like I want to be someone who can do both.
Yeah.
And as I've been able to branch out and grow a little bit as an artist and as a musician, especially working with other people, I'm trying to sort of retrofit my work so it still maintains the same lyricism style in a slightly different format.
Yeah. No, I totally dig it. Um, well, I think you're getting there. My last question to you: do you ever I'll lead with a little story about myself. So when I was getting some success writing and I was working and working, and I had a friend who was a really good at it, really good agent, and I was trying to get him to represent me, older gentleman. And I went in and talking, and he goes, "Well, tell me about your writing. Who are you, and all that." And he goes, "What are you reading?" And at that time, I was reading George Orwell left and right and sideways. I was like going crazy with Orwell. And I go, I'm reading a lot of Orwell. I list all the books. I go, and then I go, but I'm worried. I'm worried I'm going to write like him. I'm going to mimic him because I had this thing. You have to be original. You have to be original. And he had the greatest put down ever that helped me. It crushed me. He goes, if you're lucky, because I said I was afraid I was going to write like Orwell. He goes, if you're lucky. And it was so painful. It was so painful. But then I thought about it later, and it became such a powerful thing for me is like, you should be inspired by others. And often when I'm reading someone, especially, and I try to read writers that, I think I want to be like, and my writing does sort of morph them. So who's your have you ever written a song or whatever that is sort of like I've been listening to a lot of that and this is coming out like this and I don't care. Or so what
Oh,
do you think about that?
absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I wish there was some big secret to originality, but the truth is there's no such thing. Um, everything I've done is because I've heard something else that I wanted to sound like,
Yeah.
or I
I think
decided
that's
that's
really
all
I
I
think
wanted to
that's
write.
really smart of you and helpful because it is original. It's just but we take I think it's flattering to them.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's a love letter. You know, so much of what I'm thinking of when I'm trying to write songs is like, oh my God, I love this other piece of art so much. I want to have a
Yeah.
piece of art that makes me feel like
Yeah.
the way this piece of art makes me feel.
That's right. That's right.
Um,
I'm waiting for someone to tell me that they mimic me, but I'm waiting. Well,
but
listen,
yeah, I mean that's like the greatest honor you can get is
it
someone being
is,
inspired
it
by you.
is, it is. Well, when you talk, I like this about you too. You're a student of this. You say this, and our logothree, and the focus this, and all, because I think that's how we really become successful. We know the past, where it takes craft to get there. It's just not willy-nilly, and we have to honor those that came before us, and then forge our own path per se.
Yeah,
Well,
I completely agree.
the problem with you is I could talk to you all day. So listen, um, all right. So what? I'll put down some things, but what can people look to find you? Where should they go?
Yeah, I got a website, augustgladstone.com. It's a pretty comprehensive portfolio. All of my work, my writing work, my filmmaking work, my
Okay,
performance, songs, everything like that. If you want to listen to my music, I have my debut EP, 6 songs, came out this summer. It's on all streaming platforms. You can just find it under my name,
okay,
August
cool.
Gladstone. The EP is called Commodore. If you want to stay up to date on what I'm doing, I'm on social media. On Instagram, I'm at Normal August. On TikTok, I'm at August Gladstone. I post a lot of clips of songs that I'm working on,
Great.
works in progress, and then stuff that clips from
Oh,
shows that I've done, as well as
great.
updates on new
Well,
shows.
audience, I'll put that links in there for all this kind of stuff. And do you want to right now kind of like heal with the Pacific Ocean? Do you want to say something a little bit, you know what I mean, positive about that body of water, or do
Yeah, I
you?
guess I'll say something. I'm sorry. I don't want to bring this sort of
No,
hatred
you know
towards
what?
towards the ocean.
You know what? You do me a favor. Write a little song about that ocean one
Uh,
day, and then come back and share it with us, okay?
Episode 2. Yeah, absolutely.
Episode 2. All right, people. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you, August.
Thank
If
you.
you like what you like it. Subscribe. More to come. Um, buy August's work. Support this young artist, and you'll get more of him. He's someone to watch out for. He's seeing the world in a good way, and he's doing his absolute best to walk the line of truth. So I appreciate that. All right, August, take care, and we'll see you out there on the plane, right, with your machete. Okay.
You as well, John. Thank you,
All right.
and thanks
All
to
right.
everybody else for listening.
All right. Bye bye.